Breaking news now. The Oregon State Police have ended their defense of Portland's federal courthouse due to Portland District Attorney Mike Smith's refusal to prosecute those who were rioting, vandalizing, trying to burn down the courthouse. Oregon State Police saying they're not interested in in enforcing the law if the prosecutors aren't going to prosecute. One of the captains of the state police said, the Oregon State Police is continually reassessing our resources and the needs of our partner agencies. And at this time, we are inclined to move those resources back to counties where prosecution of criminal conduct is still a priority. Joining us now, Ken Cuccinelli, Acting Deputy Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, and it is great to see you. This is a sad, pathetic demonstration of local government going on now in Portland. I personally, what do you think of what the State Patrol in Oregon decided to do there? Does that make sense to you?
Well, first of all, it's the Governor Brown's decision, you know, they're lamenting what their own prosecutors won't do to hold people accountable is a sad state of affairs. You know, when people elect folks like that district attorney, they think, oh, it'll never happen here. This is crazy talk. And yet here it is, letting violent rioters who even the local police and state police with their hands tied have arrested, which is itself a high bar. And then to have the prosecutor letting them go is just an extraordinary abdication. And it's no wonder they just keep showing up and rioting every day. There's no consequence. Not locally, anyway.
There's no consequence locally. Here, people in Portland, they are in a very narrow, if you will, zone of law enforcement
Yes.
around the federal courthouse. But at the same time, this local officialdom, I don't know if we should dismiss it, Ken, quite so readily. This is more than, I think, meets the eye. You have Ted Wheeler, the mayor of the city. You have the district attorney. The people of Oregon are making choices. They're putting these people in office.
Yes.
And I don't know what you do. This is a real conflict, I know, for you, for the department, for the president. But you have a group of people in Portland and surrounding environs choosing to go the way of the radical left. I'm not sure what
Yes.
the appropriate strategy is.
Well, Lou,
help us out.
First of all, I think you are right. In Portland, you and I have talked about Portland before because, frankly, no place has gone so long and so far with this kind of violence, but it's not like it's absent elsewhere. And when you look at that district attorney, let's zero in on that. That's the same problem you see with Kim Foxx over in Chicago, where even Mayor Lightfoot is jumping on their prosecutor. And you see this in other parts of the country, and there's been a concerted effort in recent years, including the money, to elect prosecutors. Right in Northern Virginia, where I live, you had radical left prosecutors oust longtime Democrat prosecutors who were themselves pretty liberal. But now we're getting radicals winning those elections with focused dollars and focused grassroots support from the truly hard, radical, violent, tyrannical left. And so when you look beyond for a bigger story and a bigger picture that's years long in the making and in the impacts, that is definitely one of them, Lou.
And yet, poll after poll shows 60 to 70% of Americans side with their local law enforcement. They side
Yes.
With law and order, and they're deeply concerned and disturbed by what is happening in their communities. Maybe not these Democrat-run cities, but in their communities. What is the best possible response for the federal government?
So for the federal government, first of all, the president wants every American, whether they voted for him or not, or didn't vote at all. He wants every single American to live in a peaceful, safe community. And that's why he's got the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security reaching out into more and more and more cities. You saw the Operation Legend efforts, the successes recently.
Right.
But even where there are political fights, like Chicago, we're working together with that police department, with Superintendent Brown, who's a great partner in Chicago, to help attack the crime and the violence that isn't related to these violent rioters that have spawned in the last couple of months. It's related to local crime that years and years of liberal policies have made worse. But this president hasn't given up on these cities. He's willing to have his law enforcement officers, including those of us in the Department of Homeland Security, weigh in and to use federal charges, to use federal investigative resources and manpower. And we bring professional, motivated law enforcement into this fight. And they're very effective. Very effective. And that's what we're doing all over the country, and you're seeing more of those resources advance forward by the president.
Deeply troubling is another issue, and the president is highlighting it almost daily, and that is this mail-in voting. The truth of the matter is we have a serious question of electoral integrity, whether it's China meddling in our elections, whether it is Russia, whomever it may be. But it looks like the radical Dems, the left in this country, means to disrupt the elections. These are acts of intimidation, what we are witnessing here, whether it is Chicago, St. Louis, Albuquerque, or Portland. And the Justice Department, it seems to me, has a very important role to assure an orderly and lawful election of security and integrity. Is that going to happen?
Yes, that is certainly going to happen. And the challenge, of course, is the Department of Justice acts in an enforcement mechanism. That's where that comes into play. As a former state attorney general, that was the role I played in Virginia. And, you know, the problem with that is it's an after the fact. You enforce after a law is broken. You don't go police to stop a law from being broken. That's not a law enforcement role. That's an integrity of the system role. And every state does this differently. You reference a certain kind of
Is the country prepared to do that?
There are 8 states that...
Yeah.
Oh, I certainly think so. I mean, I will say this. In the Department of Homeland Security, we have CISA, which has worked with all 50 states, no matter who's running them, at the election level to protect election infrastructure to a degree never before seen, ever. But that's still, that's the infrastructure. That's where we can help. But that still doesn't change if you set up systems that are prone to manipulation. Then that's not something the federal government can fix from the federal level.
Right.
That's a concern.
Well, yeah, that is a concern because just as your department has responsibility for assuring that there is no cyber attack against electronic voting, for example, assuring a peaceful and orderly vote at those polling stations is critically important. And I hope that we see just that in this election. Ken Cuccinelli, always good to talk with you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.